In a quiet Igbo village called Umuaka, life was simple. The people farmed, fetched water from the river, and sold goods at the market. Everyone in the village knew the river was not ordinary. Elders warned children never to play near it at night, and never to take anything they saw floating or lying close to it. The villagers believed the river spirits protected their treasures fiercely. Amaka, a young woman of about 19, was known for her restless spirit. She disliked farming and found housework tiring. What she wanted most was money and fine clothes. Her friends often teased her, saying she wanted city life while living in the village. But Amaka did not care. She always wished for a way to become rich quickly. One hot afternoon, after helping her mother harvest cassava, Amaka carried her calabash to the river to fetch water. The path was quiet, with only the sound of birds singing and crickets crying. When she reached the riverbank, she dropped her calabash and bent to scoop water. That was when her eyes caught something strange. By the side of the river, half buried in sand, lay a leather bag. It looked fresh, as if someone had just dropped it. Curiosity burned in Amaka's heart. She looked around, no one was near. She walked closer, bent down, and slowly opened the bag. Her eyes widened. Inside were bundles of money tied neatly with rubber bands. Amaka's heart beat fast. She looked left and right, afraid someone might see her. But the riverbank was empty. The sound of water rushing seemed to call her, "Take it, take it." Her hands trembled as she closed the bag and quickly hid it under her wrapper. She filled her calabash with water and rushed home. That night, she could not sleep. She locked her room and opened the bag again. The money was more than she had ever seen in her life. She laughed quietly to herself, imagining all the clothes, shoes, and gold she would buy. She did not think of the warnings her grandmother often gave. Never pick money from the river. It belongs to spirits. Whoever takes it will suffer. The next morning, Amaka went to the market. She spent carelessly, buying wrappers, jewelry, and perfumes. The women selling goods were surprised. "Amaka, did you win a lottery?" one asked. She only smiled and replied, "God has blessed me." Nobody knew her secret, but whispers began to spread in the village. For the first time in her life, Amaka felt important. Young men started chasing her, praising her beauty and her new clothes. She laughed proudly, believing her life had finally changed. Yet deep inside, fear troubled her. At night, she often dreamt of strange figures dripping with water, calling her name. She would wake sweating, but she ignored the dreams. A week later, her father noticed her strange spending. He called her, "Amaka, where did you get money to buy all these things? Tell me the truth." Amaka lied. She said a distant uncle from the city had sent her money. Her father was not fully convinced, but he kept quiet. Parents in the village feared to embarrass their daughters in public. But trouble soon began. One night, as Amaka slept, she heard water splashing inside her room. She opened her eyes and saw the floor was wet, though no rain had fallen. In the corner stood a tall woman with long wet hair, wearing white cloth. The woman's eyes glowed red. Amaka screamed, but her voice did not come out. The spirit woman spoke in a calm but chilling voice. "The money you took belongs to us. Return it, or you will never know peace." With that, the woman vanished, and the water dried instantly. Amaka sat up, trembling. She wanted to tell her mother, but fear held her back. Instead, she kept the secret. The following day, Amaka went to the river again, hoping to return the bag quietly. But when she reached the spot, she saw nothing. The river flowed calmly, as if mocking her. She threw the bag into the water, but it floated back to the bank. No matter how hard she tried, the bag refused to sink. She gave up and returned home. Strange things began happening in her life. Whenever she cooked, the food turned sour. Whenever she fetched water, the calabash cracked. Friends who once loved her began to avoid her. Some whispered that she had joined secret spirits. Others said her wealth was evil. Amaka's joy slowly turned into fear. One market day, she carried her goods to sell, but as customers touched them, the items disappeared into thin air. Shocked, she cried out. People screamed and ran away from her. The village elders heard of it and summoned her to explain. She lied again, saying she knew nothing. But the elders exchanged suspicious looks. That night, Amaka fell ill. Her body shook with fever, and her eyes turned red. She saw shadows dancing around her bed, whispering in strange languages. She begged her mother to pray for her. The old woman cried, holding her daughter's hand, not knowing the secret Amaka kept hidden. Finally, unable to bear it, Amaka confessed to her grandmother. She told her everything, how she found the bag by the river, how she took it, and how the spirit woman visited her. The old woman sighed deeply. Didn't I warn you, Amaka? River money is not for humans. You have invited trouble. The grandmother carried her to the chief priest of the village, a man named Dibia Akoro. He was feared for his knowledge of spirits. After hearing the story, he shook his head. Child, you are in deep trouble. The river spirits want their money back, and they also want your life as punishment. Amaka fell to her knees, crying, Please, save me, I don't want to die. The priest prepared sacrifices of white fowls, palm oil, and kola nut. He led Amaka and her family to the riverbank at midnight. The villagers followed secretly, curious to see what would happen. As they stood by the river, the priest chanted incantations. Suddenly, the water began to rise. Waves splashed without wind. From the river emerged several spirit women, all dressed in white, their eyes glowing like fireflies. The villagers gasped in fear and knelt down. One of the spirit women stepped forward. It was the same tall woman who had visited Amaka at night. She pointed at Amaka and said, You took what was not yours. Because of greed, you broke our covenant. Amaka cried, Forgive me. Take the money back. I don't want it anymore. She pushed the bag toward them. The spirit woman bent, touched the bag, and it dissolved into water. She turned to Amaka. We accept the return, but the spirits demand a price. The villagers murmured in fear. The priest pleaded, offering the sacrifice. But the spirits shook their heads. No sacrifice can wash away greed. She must serve us. Amaka screamed and begged, but before anyone could move, the spirits surrounded her. A strong wind blew. The villagers held each other, unable to stand. When the wind stopped, Amaka was gone. Only her wrapper remained on the sand. The river returned to calmness, as if nothing had happened. The villagers wailed. Amaka's mother fainted, crying her daughter's name. The priest shook his head. This is the price of greed. Let it be a lesson to all. The people returned home in silence, their hearts heavy with fear. Nobody ever forgot that night. From that day, whenever people went near the river, they saw Amaka's reflection in the water. Some said she was now one of the river maidens, forever trapped. Children were warned never to pick strange money, no matter how tempting. Amaka's story spread across neighboring villages as a tale of warning. Years later, her younger sister Neka grew up. She was different from Amaka. She loved hard work, farming, and helping others. Whenever she passed the river, she bowed her head in respect. She often told her friends, My sister's mistake will never be mine. Greed destroys. But Amaka's memory did not fade. During moonlight gatherings, elders retold her story. Remember Amaka, they would say. She picked money near the river and regretted it forever. If you see riches that are not yours, leave them. Not all gifts are blessings. The children listened with wide eyes, repeating the lesson. Amaka's mother, though broken-hearted, became a strong voice in the village. She often went to gatherings, warning the youth. Don't let greed blind you. Work for your own. Quick money carries a curse. People respected her, for she turned her pain into wisdom for others. The river itself became a fearful place. No one dared to wash clothes there at night. No one fetched water alone. If anyone saw money or items near the bank, they quickly ran away. The villagers learned to value hard work, believing the spirits were always watching. One day, a traveler passed through Umuaka. He laughed at the story, saying, You villagers believe in childish tales. Spirits do not exist. To prove it, he went to the river and pretended to search for money. The villagers begged him to stop, but he refused. That night, the traveler disappeared and was never seen again. This incident confirmed the people's fear. The chief called the entire village together. We must honor the river spirits, he said. Amaka's story and the traveler's fate remind us that greed brings destruction. Let us remain humble and hardworking. The people agreed and performed cleansing rituals yearly. Neka, now older, became a strong woman. She married a farmer and raised children. Whenever they asked about their lost aunt, she told them the full story. Your aunt wanted wealth without sweat. But true wealth comes from patience and honesty. Never follow her path. The children nodded, though sometimes they felt sad. They wished they had known Amaka before her mistake. But they also understood that life gives warnings, and ignoring them brings regret. Amaka's story became more than just a tale, it became the backbone of the village's morals. Over time, travelers from other places heard of Umuaka and visited, asking to hear the famous story of the girl who picked money near the river. The villagers shared it proudly, not to mock Amaka, but to teach others. The story spread wide, reaching even the cities. Some said Amaka still appeared in dreams, warning young women not to chase wealth blindly. Others said her spirit sang from the river on moonlit nights, her voice both beautiful and sorrowful. Nobody knew the full truth, but the lesson remained strong. One night, Neka herself dreamt of her sister. Amaka, dressed in white, stood by the river, smiling sadly. "Take care of our family," she whispered. "Tell them not to walk the road I walked." When Neka woke up, tears filled her eyes.
Thank you so much for listening to today's enchanting story. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe for more magical tales that spark your imagination.